So, in very typical fashion, in my last video I mentioned about potentially moving away from Octopus for my export part of my tariff to Scottish Power as the solar generation dies down in the autumn and winter months. My plan was to switch away from Octopus Flux around about October time and then switch to either Intelligent Octopus or Octopus Go for my import part of the tariff. Scottish Power, who are paying 12 pence per kilowatt hour for export, would then provide the export part alongside Octopus's smart tariff. Well, Octopus have once again upped the game and have now allowed their Octopus outgoing fixed tariff to be combined with Intelligent Octopus. What that means is, if you're on the Intelligent Octopus EV tariff, as normal you'll get a minimum of 6 hours cheap overnight electricity, 7.5 pence per kilowatt hour as of September 2023. But you can now also combine that to get 15 pence per kilowatt hour for anything you export back to the grid. This is a pretty big deal. Stay tuned for more. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Dan EV Solar, and here you can follow my journey, all things electric vehicles, solar panels, renewables, energy tariff and money saving. Please hit the like button if you find this video useful and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already done so. I first spotted this change earlier in the week when somebody posted on a Facebook group about Octopus's terms and conditions changing for Intelligent Octopus. The terms previously stated that Intelligent Octopus was only compatible with Octopus's SEG or Standard Export Guarantee payment, which only paid a measly 4.1 pence per kilowatt hour for anything exported back to the grid from solar. Bear in mind, most people on the standard flexible tariff will be paying around 30 pence per kilowatt hour to import electricity. The recent update stated that Intelligent Octopus could now be combined for export with either the outgoing Octopus fixed rate export tariff, which pays 15 pence per kilowatt hour, so nearly 4 times more than the SEG payment, or it could be combined with the outgoing Octopus Agile tariff, which tracks wholesale electricity rates and pays a sum dependent on the availability of electricity at half-hourly intervals. You can find out the half-hourly rates on the site energystats.uk if you would like to know more about the outgoing Agile tariff. I'll also post this link in the description too. Now, this only appears to apply to Intelligent Octopus and not Octopus Go. For those that don't know, Intelligent Octopus requires a compatible electric vehicle or EV charger. Go only requires that you own any EV, and that tariff charges customers 9.5 pence per kilowatt hour for 4 hours usage overnight, rather than the 7.5 pence per kilowatt hour for 6 hours on Intelligent Octopus. Octopus state that they can offer the higher export rate due to the smart charging times on Intelligent Octopus. This is because of the savings that they make by controlling charge times themselves and using that to balance the grid demand. I'll be sure to update the description if I hear of any changes to Octopus Go, but right now it looks like this is limited to Intelligent Octopus only. As things stand right now, my plan is to make the most of Octopus Flux during the spring, summer and autumn months, and then switch to Intelligent for the winter period. Some people may prefer, if they do high mileage in the EV, to stay with the Intelligent Octopus tariff all year round. And although for most customers, solar generation throughout the winter months isn't great, and therefore there's not much to export, this change still represents a pretty big deal. For those currently on Intelligent Octopus with SEG, Octopus estimates that they will gain by receiving an extra £150 a year for essentially doing nothing due to the extra export. They are currently sending out emails to customers on this setup informing them that they will be automatically transferred to the outgoing Octopus fixed rate for export at the start of September. The email states that by the end of this week, customers will be automatically upgraded to the higher paying export tariff, which is great. This also changes my autumn and winter strategy a little as well. As I mentioned, I'm currently on Octopus Flux, which pays a very healthy rate for export. Check out many of my other videos if you want to know more about this tariff. The first change is that I'm likely to move from Octopus Flux to Intelligent Octopus earlier than I previously would have done, as I can still benefit from a decent export rate during the sunny days throughout autumn, as well as taking advantage of the cheaper overnight rate than what it is on Flux. 7.5 pence per kilowatt hour versus 17.5 pence per kilowatt hour on Flux to charge my EV. Secondly, from what I can gather, and it's still early day with these changes, it now makes sense if you have a home battery to also charge that to full during the 6-hour off-peak window, and then anything that I generate through my solar panels during the day can be exported back to the grid when the grid needs it at 15 pence per kilowatt hour. There's also potentially an argument to export anything you have spare in your battery back to the grid just before that off-peak window starts again. Let's assume that I emptied my 9.5 kilowatt hour Give Energy battery back to the grid every day, which I wouldn't, as I'd have nothing left to power the house throughout the rest of the day. This would net me around £21 extra per month, plus the export for the solar, so maybe something to consider. I'd also seen somebody discussing the potential to operate something like Home Assistant to manage the export before that off-peak window during the night. To do this, you'd have to set up an automation to ensure that the battery was just above empty before that peak window started again, and this would then allow you to make the most of the export. You could then charge up during the off-peak window, rinse and repeat every day. That way you can make the most from the export and you'd still have enough left to see you through the day to power your home. Something I might look into. Would you fill the battery full overnight, and would you discharge anything back to the grid? Let me know in the comments what you think. So why are Octopus doing this? On the face of it, it looks like selling customers electricity at 7.5 pence per kilowatt hour and then allowing them to sell it back to them at 15 pence per kilowatt hour. Sounds like business suicide, but the way I see it, everyone can benefit from this. Number one, the customer benefits as they get more from the solar generation and potentially battery discharge that they export back to the grid. Number two, the grid benefits as customers are encouraged to fill their cars and home batteries during the cheap off-peak window when energy is plentiful, and then they can export that back to the grid when the sun is shining during the day and when the grid needs the power. Number three, I assume that this is also better for Octopus as well, as they can get their electricity from customers such as those of us with solar panels and home batteries during the day cheaper than what they would have to pay to fire up a backup power plant if required, or I'm sure they can sell this energy on for even more themselves. So everyone's a winner. Well, maybe. I suspect this might be a little like some of the other smart tariffs that Octopus offer, and they might make a loss on it initially. However, it puts them in good stead as the grid moves to more renewables. I'm also sure that they will have ran the sums themselves to make sure it's viable. If you like the sound of this tariff and would like to switch to Octopus, it would be great if you could use my referral link that's on the screen now. If you sign up to this, you will get £50 into your account when you join, and I also get £50 as well, which helps me to keep improving the content and quality of my videos. Thank you to everyone that has joined using this link so far. I've also been using an app called Octopus Compare since I moved to Octopus a while back, and this helps to give us some quick comparison data to compare the two tariffs. When I looked at this before I did my previous monthly update with the export rate at 4.1 pence per kilowatt hour, the generation would have to drop significantly before it was worth me looking to switch to Intelligent Octopus, just because of that export rate that I was getting. However, at 15 pence per kilowatt hour for export, this makes it a lot closer. Now, obviously, there's an argument to say I would probably change my usage patterns on different tariffs, so this isn't an exact science. But as you can see, I've compared the sums in the table below for my August stats, and there's only around £18 difference now in the two tariffs with the higher export rate. Although September started really well in terms of solar generation due to the sunny days, I feel like it won't be long before this tips a balance in favour of Intelligent Octopus, much sooner than it would have done with the 4.1 pence per kilowatt hour export rate. So, yet again, great work Octopus. The 4.1 pence per kilowatt hour rate was starting to feel a little low when compared with the rest of the market, so fair play to them for listening to the customer and updating this. I can only see this as a win for the customer, and hopefully it continues to encourage people to take up EVs and installing rooftop solar arrays. What are your thoughts on this change? Please let me know in the comments whether you'll be switching to this, and also what your thoughts are if you're currently on Flux and when you're looking to switch. That's it for this video. Hopefully you found it useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.